President Trump receiving some criticism for something he did not say in his State of the Union address. The president mentioned Russia only once in the hour and 20-minute speech, but not their election meddling. Joining us now to talk about all of it is Senator Ben Cardin of Maryland. He's the senior Democrat on the Senate Foreign Relations Committee. Senator, thanks for being here so early.
Allison, it's good to be with you. Thank you.
What did you hear last night in the speech?
Well, I didn't hear much about Russia. In fact, I really heard nothing about Russia.
Did you expect to hear about Russian meddling? I mean, why would that have been in the State of the Union?
Because Russia is a major security threat to the United States of America. It's very likely that they'll be involved in our 2018 elections. We saw over the last weekend that they were involved in the Czech elections. You can go election after election. Mr. Putin is meddling in other countries in our democratic system, and the President of the United States, talking about the State of the Union, needs to talk about Russia.
What would you have wanted him to say?
Well, first, we were disappointed the day before where he did not impose any new sanctions against
Let's stop there. So you all passed sanctions 6 months ago, and the president has refused to implement them. Why?
Well, you can speculate, but it's clear that Mr. Trump believes that he has a good relationship with Mr. Putin. He says that when Mr. Putin says he didn't interfere in our elections, that the president believes him. So it is somewhat surreal that he is allowing Mr. Putin to do these types of activities without taking action against him.
I mean, the State Department, siding obviously with the president, has said that they think, Russia has gotten the message. Russia has gotten the message. No new sanctions necessary. Your legislation spoke loud and clear.
Well, that's absolutely false. Our intelligence community tells us that Mr. Putin is still very, very active in the United States. We see that in the interference in our social media, trying to get news at a higher level. We see that in activities, as I already mentioned, in some of the European countries. We see that in Syria. We could go over more and more cases where Russia, Mr. Putin, is doing things that are against our interests. So, no, Russia has not gotten the message.
Is the U.S. prepared today for the midterms to defend itself against any kind of future Russian meddling?
No. With the President of the United States not taking the leadership, the way our free election system works, the way that it is so open, you need to be sophisticated in your defense. We saw that if you are in Germany and France, they took actions. It was effective. Their leaders recognized the risk and took action. President Trump has not.
So what should President Trump be doing? What action did they take that we're not taking?
Well, there's several things. First, you need to work with social media companies so we have complete disclosure with foreign interests getting involved in paid advertisements or recognizing that there's ways that they elevate news that's fake.
Yeah, Facebook's on that. I mean, Facebook would say that they're tackling that.
But not from the president. We've had our own discussions, but there's no policy in this country to try to protect our free election system. There's been no efforts made to deal with Russia's cyber activities. One of the sanctions that we passed was new sanctions on Russia for their cyber attacks. They haven't imposed any of those sanctions.
This House Republican memo, the Devin Nunes crafted memo about whether or not there were surveillance abuses at FISA. Are you prepared for this to come out? Do you want to see what's in there?
Well, this to me is very, very sad and dangerous. We're talking about defending the rule of law, defending the independence of the Department of Justice. You would think that Congress would stand up for the independence of the Department of Justice. There used to be a time that Democrats and Republicans joined together to protect the FBI, the Department of Justice, but it looks like that the Republicans are prepared to compromise our rule of law system in order to protect the president.
I want to ask you about what happened with a recent meeting with the CIA director, Mike Pompeo. He met with his Russian counterparts. They came to the U.S., including, it's possible, but though Director Pompeo won't confirm, the top Russian spy. What are we to make of this?
Well, first of all, we found out about it through a Russian tweet, as I understand it. So it was the Russian authorities that let us know that he was here, sort of bragging that here we have sanctions against one of their individuals, and that person's here in the United States. So we're not even enforcing our existing sanctions against individuals who are not permitted to be in the United States.
Have you shared your thoughts with Director Pompeo?
I have not seen him since this came to light. I assure you that Congress, I will be doing oversight to find out why current sanctions are not being enforced the way they should be, and also to understand that we're going to watch. The president, I think, said, or Secretary of State said this is day one of imposing sanctions, that we're that we're still open for imposing sanctions. We need to have congressional oversight, including why this individual was here in the United States.
Senator Ben Cardin, thanks so much. Great to
Thank
talk
you.
to you this morning. Thanks
Thank
for
you.
coming in.